Mark 8 and Luke 9, 18 to 27. Well, the existence of a single word in Mark 8:31, must, as in the Son of Man must suffer many things, has generated probably more mental energy than any other event or word or concept in the life of Jesus. Why did Jesus die? More specifically, why did he have to die? Is usually how we think of the question. Picking up from yesterday's video, Peter makes this great confession: you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And that's Mark 8:29. He immediately, Jesus does, Mark 8:31, he turns that, he says, yes, that's true, but then he turns that into a discussion immediately of his own death. He began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and chief priests and scribes. So this must die idea comes out very quickly. The great confession turns into the great change of plans, you could say. Something that Peter never saw coming. In fact, nobody in the story of Jesus in the New Testament ever saw this idea coming. We'll have a lot of time to talk about this, of course, because between a half and a third of all four Gospels, depending on the Gospel, spend their time, a third of their book, on the Passion Week of Jesus' life. So let's take this video and just talk about this question of why did Jesus have to die. I have 5 points. Number one, Jesus needed to do various things in his ministry. The Greek word for necessary or must or need to is the little Greek word dei, and it's scattered throughout Jesus' ministry prior to this time. Luke 2:49, the 12-year-old boy Jesus said, "Did you not know that I must be about my Father's business?" Luke 4:43, "I must preach the kingdom of God to the other cities." 19:5, "Zacchaeus, make haste, come down, for today I must stay at your house." John 4:4, but Jesus needed to go through Samaria. John 10:16, "Other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them I must also bring." Hebrews 2:17, you get into the New Testament writings. "Therefore in all things he had to be," made like his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest. So quickly, just the first point, the musts of Jesus' life, at least in the biblical text, are numerous, and not just this. This is one of them, of course. By the way, Paul will use the little Greek word dei, it is necessary, 23 times, and only once about Jesus, and that will be in 1 Corinthians 15:25, he must reign. Number two, Jesus came to this understanding, in my opinion, of needing to die, not through reading of the scriptures, which he did, careful reading of the text, but I believe this would have been a conversation between him and the Father during his probably adult ministry. The reason for that is this, is that as we have taken the time, a whole year again, to go through the Old Testament story, at no point did we come upon a text which clearly taught that the Messiah would need to die. Even Isaiah 53, which again does not mention a Messiah. There are prophets, of course, who will suffer, but there is no character or role in the Old Testament which is specifically forecasted or promised to die. So we can look back with 20/20 hindsight and see ideas about the death of Jesus or something like that, but for him to say, "I must," seems to be more information than he would have simply found by reading the Old Testament text. Number three, suffering beyond the straightforward idea of dying is also included. Every time, almost every text that Jesus mentions his death, he includes suffering. Mark 8:31, he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected and then killed. Mark 9:12, it is written concerning the Son of Man that he must suffer many things and be treated with contempt. Mark 10:33, behold, we're going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be betrayed into the chief priests and, of course, be spitefully treated. So the idea of suffering is necessary to the story of his death. That is, Jesus could not have simply gone off into the wilderness and committed suicide to apparently play out this part of the plan that God had for him. The must of death included the must of suffering as well. Number 4, Jesus will turn this promise of suffering, and notice the text in Mark even today, we saw it. He will turn this promise of suffering and of death back upon his followers. Mark 8:34, he said to them, "Whoever desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, and whoever will lose his life for my sake and the gospel's will find it." So, again, when we see Jesus doing it, we don't have to read much farther before Jesus turns it into a preachment and saying, if you desire to follow me, you are going to go through the same pattern that I will be going through. And number 5, and I realize this is heavy theology, as it were, even controversial, but let me give you my opinion. Like his followers' possible deaths, Jesus' death, think of them together now, as we just did here, does not solve a standing problem. In other words, the deaths of these people, including Jesus, does not have a solution attached to it that we can see. There is no Old Testament passage, again think backwards, telling us of a problem that needs the death of a Messiah as a solution. Or you can turn that around. No one in the Old Testament saw a problem that a dying Messiah would solve. And in the end, this will be why Jesus asks the Father if there is any other way to accomplish his will in Gethsemane. If it was just a legal or a transactional or a mechanical or a forensic solution that Jesus was after, in other words, if I do A, then B will happen, as in, if I die, then X, Y, Z will necessarily happen, then I believe Gethsemane would have sounded completely different from the way it actually does. So let's for now keep the question a live question, a good question, one that we'll be talking about really through the rest of the New Testament, and that is, why will Jesus need to die?